I think this might have worked. We'll see. Hey, ATC, give me 1 second, please. I think I accidentally have two links up, so I'm going to get rid of one. Not this one. You guys are safe. So, um, hey, to see if you want to hit um, the link, the button, whatever it's called. Join the live. Hey, Daddy, School Sniper, how are you? So if this works, I pre-scheduled. I'm not very good at pre-scheduling, guys. But I think it might have worked. If it does, we're going to talk sobriety. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I think that for the most part, hey, Jamie Jones, how are you? I think for the most part, all things country, ATC, also known as Brad. I think originally known as Brad. I don't think his parents actually named him All Things Country. They might have. We can ask him. That, let's see. Give me one little second. Hey, Justin, how are you? Justin says hello. So I was saying before I got off track, as I often do, that Justin says, hey, Brad. Justin, hopefully he'll be joining in a little bit. As mentioned, or as I was getting ready to mention, that I think we see sobriety, him and I, very similarly. I think we have very similar philosophical outlooks, not just on sobriety, but on other issues as well. But I think there also might be some differences there to explore. We'll see. Justin says, I'm okay today. Happy Thanksgiving. Yogi, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Be spending my Thanksgiving talking about sobriety with a friend. Feel free to ask a question, guys. Carl says, good evening. You still with us, ATC? I believe there's only one possible link up, right? Burpee Reaper says, good mother freaking morning, YouTube family. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yogi, hey, happy Thanksgiving to you. Am I able to post the connection link? I think. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to share the live stream in my community page. So if you go to my community page, you should see the link. Reaper says, have a great day, guys. Enjoy the time with loved ones. Thank you, Reaper. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're off today. Let's see. Ryan says, hi. Hey, Ryan. Justin says, waves to Reaper. So it'll be interesting to see the path that led to All Things Country. How did Brad, happy-go-lucky drinker at one time, end up the fisherman extraordinaire? People say, "Oh, I'm the cook, laughing, got the turkey in the oven." Why did I think that you might be a deep fryer for some reason? People says, "I'm going to feast." You earned it. You earned it, man. Big week of work. Anyone here deep frying their turkey? If you are, be careful. Every year on YouTube, there's videos of people with deep frying accidents. There you go. Next year, deep frying. Yeah, check out the videos for deep frying turkeys. Fortunately for me, it is hard to mess up. And there we go. It's hard to mess up lentils and rice. That was my Thanksgiving dinner. It's already over. I'm going to do something I've yet to do. I'm going to say, how you doing, Brad? I've only called you ATC or All Things Country.
I'm doing well, sir. How's my audio?
A little fuzzy.
A little fuzzy?
Yep. We'll see if it
We're trying the earbud thing here.
that might be a little better.
I just twisted it in my ear a little bit. Very high-tech solution.
So, as I was saying, that I highly doubt that your parents named you All Things Country. So,
Nope.
no, I didn't think so. So I figured, it's about time I called you Brad. Although I absolutely love the title, All Things Country. One of the things
Whatever works, Yogi.
One of the things that drew me in, actually, your channel, and then when I got there, you were sluicing for gold, and you were laid back, and you were welcoming, and it was just a great, easy conversation. The rest is YouTube history.
There you go, sir. I appreciate it.
You're back to being fuzzy again.
How's that?
That's better again. All right. So you got to keep your head at the right angle.
That's the earbud. I could actually, this is my first time ever trying this, Yogi. I could this earbud. I just talked to the phone. Now that I see how it kind of works, it'll probably be a little bit better for you.
Okay, I think so. Let's see. I'm just going to look at some questions here. Everyone's saying hi. Eve, Burpee Reaper's here. Carl's here. Justin's here. He said hi. Justin, as you know, you've been thunderstruck.
How's that, Yogi? Any better?
Perfect. That's actually perfect. So, where do you want to start? Sobriety or the drunken years? All Things Country, the drunken years.
I think what's important in terms of this subject, I think it's important to note that I personally have a history with anxiety and depression, and that is where the lack of sobriety started, right?
Right.
So some background on me, knowing that. What I was what you could consider, or what people call, a functioning alcoholic. So a functioning alcoholic is somebody that on the surface may look normal to you. That person goes to work every day. That person, drives a car, has a house, does normal people things, shops for groceries. You would not, from the hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., you would never know that I was abusing alcohol. But my lack of sobriety started every day like clockwork at 5 o'clock. My personal poison at the time was beer. I still continue. I think it's also important that we define sobriety.
Right.
Uh, to me, someone who's sober is somebody who doesn't abuse alcohol. That doesn't mean you can never have a drink, can never have a glass of wine. It means that alcohol is not what you would consider an important part of your life anymore.
I talked about that with Mocha this morning, um, as she was asking me if I considered, um, because both you and I have talked about um, not really agreeing with the label alcoholic. I think there's a difference between a life of sobriety and being an alcoholic. Um, by definition, I was an alcoholic, but when I quit, I was done. I was done with the lifestyle. I was done with the alcohol. So by right, I didn't feel like I should continue calling myself an alcoholic. I was just someone who was sober. Alcohol completely left my life. Um, so I like what you say, that a life of sobriety doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have an occasional beer or uh, even a whatever drink. It's I think it's an inner conviction that the issue in and of itself is in the past.
I mean, I would 100% agree with that, but at the same time, I do believe there are people who are alcoholics.
Oh, I agree.
And so, in that sense, I would define more the term alcoholic as Alcoholics Anonymous would define it, which is somebody that has a chemical addiction to alcohol. If
Right.
you're if you're in if you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, um, and I'm sure AA is great for some people, have done some great things. Um, I would say that the whole principle of Alcoholics Anonymous is never drink.
What about the psychological addiction?
Well,
I mean, is there a distinction between a physical addiction? And I think you've probably seen people, I know I have, who we talked about this before, I believe, the body chemistry, the blood chemistry just goes wild with one drink for some people.
well, I'm a another thing we'll probably agree on, Yogi, and I'm sure there's lots of things, but as someone who's a yogic practitioner, the mind is a very, very powerful thing. If your mind tells your body that it needs that alcohol because that's your daily escape, 5 o'clock every day, you have that drink. I'm a firm believer that your body will react to the message that your mind sends it and get that alcohol into your bloodstream. At
I
least
agree.
that's how it felt for me.
Right. For, you know, I drank every single day in excess to get drunk. I'm going to read a comment from Tim real quick. Tim says, word up, I was a severe alcoholic 23 years ago. Quit cold turkey. Used to drink 16 beers daily. On a weekend, my 16 beer and a couple of fifths of Bacardi and rum. I've never looked back. That's the way it was for me. I always tell people I was a social drunk, but I found every reason in the world to be sociable. I was sociable on Mondays. I was sociable on Tuesdays. Sociable. And it really was. I went to bars. I seldom ever drank home alone because I was never home alone. I was always out in a bar and I was always closing the bar down. Um, I had friends who were bartenders, friends who owned bars. I, I'm not saying that I specifically looked for bar owners to be friends with. That was just a happy coincidence. Um, but it was when I quit, there was no withdrawal, either emotionally, psychologically, or physically. But I think I'm a rare case that it was. I had been practicing meditation, and for me, it was almost a spiritual. Not even almost. It was a spiritual epiphany that I knew I was done.
I think so. Likewise, I had no chemical reaction whatsoever. I didn't shake. I didn't have any of the. I did have craving, But I think, 20 years of pounding that into your body for every day, 7 days a week, I was craving that psychological release. I don't feel I was craving the drink itself, if that makes sense.
Right. Now you mentioned this before. Why did you decide to quit?
Um, so I got to a crossroads, and I was at the time I mentioned, looking like just anyone else walking down the street. You never know. I had a nice home, a nice truck. I was divorced, two kids, um, and money got tight. And I was making a six-figure income, and I was frustrated that my money was tight. Like I'm making all the. And then when you think about where's all your money, could you be giving up in your life? And this wasn't about money. What happened was my oldest son needed braces desperately. My youngest son needed a dental procedure, and his hockey fees were due, and that amounted to a fairly good sum of money, right? So I had a choice at the time between alcohol and taking care of my kids.
Right.
I had always been that person that, because I had all this money and I was drinking all this money, never I could stop anytime I want. And I just had a revelation with money being tight. That, you know what? Maybe if I give this, if for me to pay my share, my ex also no longer has a very good paying job, so it's a 50-50 proposition. For me to do my share of taking care of the kids, I'm going to have to do without something for a while. And I had two choices, right? I could give up the alcohol, or I could eat ramen noodles for 6 months. Which I mean, ramen noodles are great, but not something you want to eat for on a 6 month thing.
At limited appeal.
And but then I I delved further into my thought processes. Why is this even a debate? Why am I even thinking about this right now? Why am I thinking, what can I give? It should, and it was called an epiphany, call it. It should have been a no-brainer, and I knew that at the time. This should be a no-brainer. Just okay, you can't afford to drink. You always
Now,
said you could go with. So put your money where your mouth is, right? Literally.
right. Now, did you think that when you got the dental procedures out of the way and things got back to normal, that you would just pick it up again and start drinking?
No. So I one thing that I mentioned, I was really, um, in giving you my answer, I seem very nonchalant about it, very, factual, very matter of fact. The reality is that's not how it went at all. I mean, that's the story behind it.
Right.
But the reality was I was scared. I was scared what is my body going to feel like at that 5 o'clock? I've been doing this for 20 years. Um, I was scared that I would let myself and my kids down. I was scared that, as somebody that deals with depression, what is and anxiety, what is that going to feel like when I
Right.
when I don't drink that outlet anymore?
I was going to ask you that. Do you think you're drinking um, in any way, maybe even just an illusion? Do you think you were drinking to alleviate the depression and the anxiety, self-medicating?
That's exactly why I was drinking. And um, as you get to know me better, you're gonna find I love analogies. Analogies are like one of my favorite things, right? And dealing with depression, everyone has negative things in your life, and by negative things, I don't necessarily mean something bad, really bad happened to you. I mean, that's obviously one that can be a negative thing. But having a nice house is a positive. Having a mortgage payment is a negative. Um, and all these things in life add up. And someone that doesn't have depression, uh, I feel, is better equipped to deal with those day-to-day things than someone with depression is. And
Right.
that's the hard thing about depression is you don't deal properly. Your brain, your body doesn't process these burdens, so to speak, normally. I liken it to being so my consumption of alcohol. I liken it to be if you're if all those negative things in your life, your mortgage payment, your responsibilities, your job, deadlines, dental issues with the kids, medical issues with the kids. Picture that being a river, and a person without depression just slowly, casually swims up that river and keeps pace. In fact, they likely get ahead of the tide. Somebody with depression is having depression is like trying to do that with an anchor tied around your waist. That's the
Right.
way I like to think about it. And I think about my abuse of alcohol as a dam. So I'd come home from work, and rather than swimming anymore, I just build a dam with alcohol. Now the problem with dams, in my case alcohol, is the effects wear off and the dam disappears. And when you've had that dam in there for hours, because you were drunk, because you were having a personal party, so to speak, all of that builds up behind the dam. When that dam collapses, you have to deal with sudden rush of all of it. And that the best way I could describe my experience. Every day I'd build a dam, and every day I'd wake up in the middle of the night having an attack, an anxiety attack, depression all day long because I was hit with all those problems back at once. And then I'd build the dam up again, and I'd be okay for a few hours,
Right.
and then all that water would come back.
For me, um, drinking was definitely self-medicating because when I was drinking, I could forget or at least put on the front that I was depressed. That I could put on that happy-go-lucky drunk facade for the world to see. Um, but when I was alone, and I did everything I could to keep from being alone, which is why I stayed in bars all night long. Um, and then I would wake up, I would work out, I would go to work, I would get off, I'd go to bars again. So I spent very little time alone until my meditation practice started deepening, and I started getting that alone time for 20 minutes twice a day in meditation, 30 minutes twice a day in meditation. And I started being able to view my life through the lens of that quietness that I was developing. And I started seeing that there's some deep issues at play. I'm not a very happy person. Um, and I may actually have some things going on that I need some help with. And that's when things started changing for the better. But what did you notice depression and anxiety wise when you quit drinking?
Pardon me?
What did you notice within yourself with anxiety and depression once you quit drinking? Did you find that
Uh,
they were present, but you could deal with them, or other issues at play?
Not all of a sudden. So I mean, I noticed a comment down in the chat says that drinking creates depression and anxiety. I wouldn't say that it creates it. I would certainly say that it amplifies it.
I
And
agree with that.
when I started dealing with my depression, because I wasn't dealing with it with alcohol, uh, the river, as I mentioned earlier, that negativity, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it in small bites. And that's literally what I did. Small bites,
Right.
hit one problem at a time. Okay, let's deal with the fact that my son needs the dental work. Talking to you. Let's deal, you know, and let's deal with all these things. I went out the first night after I quit. So I did quit for a while because I needed to show my before I could have a social beer. I needed to show myself personally that I could go 3 months without consuming any alcohol. That was the deadline I set for myself. And I went out and I could, the first night I couldn't sleep because my body was just used to having
Right.
that alcohol. And I went out, and I think I told you this on one of your streams. I went out, and there was a beautiful sunrise, and I was sitting on the deck with my coffee, and I just started realizing that all of these little things, the smell in the air of the fall, so I had the smell of the decaying leaves, all these little beautiful things that I was
Right.
that
I
I
remember that
seen,
story. Hey,
and that's
when
how I
you
started one thing at a time. That stuff became my alcohol. That stuff became, well, I feel okay. I'm starting to feel down. I put a leash on my dog and I go for a walk. Um, I'm feeling bored or I'm feeling antsy. Let's go light a campfire. Let's go putter in the garage. Let's sluice for some gold. Let's just doing things to keep myself occupied, to keep my mind quiet, so to speak.
were you nervous when you had a drink after that long absence that you were going to start over, the whole process would start over again, that everything that you had um, worked so hard being sober was going to go down the drain? Or did it just feel, you know, it's no longer an issue? I can have this drink and put it aside and it's never going to be an issue again.
So I was definitely nervous. What I did to counteract that was so by the time I felt I was confident to have a drink again, spring and summer had come. So I was chopping in the spring. I chop firewood. I take down everything that I clean up everything that fell on my property over the winter, stuff like that. And that's kind of the time where I would love a nice cold beer right after cutting the grass. After, and the way I personally combated that was to never have more in the house at one time than I would allow myself to drink in one sitting.
Right.
So I would go to the store and I would buy two beers, and I would bring that those two beer home and I would put them in the fridge. And I started small. So the first day I had one, and my test for myself was to um, try and leave the second one in the fridge. Uh, and then eventually I became more and more confident. Um, and but always in the back of my mind is I don't want to go back there. I don't want to be that guy again, right?
Right.
And I mentioned, I've actually mentioned on your stream um, about my two boys, right? And every time I was tempted to have another beer or to have several beer, I said I'm going to put that beer down in front of that kitchen, my kids, force myself to make a choice. And lo and behold, the kids won out.
I think it helps to do something for a larger purpose. Um, I think that maybe not for everyone, but if you're attempting to quit drinking, if you're attempting to quit any what we could view as a negative behavior, and if you're just doing it for yourself, it can be a battle. But when you're doing it, and it's a worthy battle, it's a worthwhile battle, and I hope everyone who has an issue uh, confronts it. But it becomes so much easier when you're doing it out of love, when you were doing it because you love people and you know it's going to benefit them, or you had a glimpse of true love for yourself and you realize that it's going only to lead to happier and happier times if you do it. But anything that we confront as a battle, um, I don't know, it just adds that, especially for someone like you, for someone like me, I already have that edge of anxiety. If I'm in battle with myself, what's going to happen if I lose? I, for me, it wasn't a battle with quit drinking. And again, I talk about it as an epiphany. I saw the life ahead of me in both directions and a clear choice. Did I want to keep doing what I was doing? Eventually, I was going to destroy myself if I was lucky. If I was unlucky, I was going to destroy myself and other people because I was, I got pulled over. I got a DWI, and I had been drinking and driving for a decade, um, barely missing calamities. I don't know how I got away with it. I don't know how I justified it. Um, that was once I quit drinking. The hardest thing for me was self forgiveness for my selfish behavior for over a decade. With you were saying basically fishing, being outside, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset. Um, would you consider that sort of like your therapy to quit drinking?
Yes and no. Um, it's a beautiful cycle because not only is it my therapy, it's also my reward. I noticed when I quit, it was I noticed things that I didn't notice before. They were right there in front of me the whole time. I just never took the time to notice them. I never took the time to enjoy them.
Right.
And if I had continued down the path I was on, I never would have noticed those things.
What are you doing
So
now for dealing with your anxiety and your depression?
um, again, it's a matter of staying active. I'm somebody, I tried. I went and I got a prescription for antidepressants, and and again, I want to stress what's good for me or good for you, Yogi, is not necessarily good for everybody else. If you need those antidepressants, then by all means, then you should be taking those.
Absolutely.
I didn't like the way they made me feel, and I also didn't like the idea of being dependent on them for the rest of the but if that's what it would have taken, that's what it would have taken. I think it's important that there's such a stigma around mental illness. Well, it's important that people realize that it's no different from a physical illness. It really is. And I don't, I don't, if you had lymphoma or you had a form of cancer and you needed to take a drug on a daily basis for the rest of your life in order to feel okay, then you would take those medications. Um, me, my bigger struggle now is with anxiety.
Sorry, I don't know where this came from. Sorry, I have someone up in the background. I'm doing their playlist for watch hours.
No problem.
I didn't realize they were on a silent live stream that just ended. So, um,
Yeah.
hey, what about your family's reaction? How is your relationship with your family different now than it was before?
Um, I mean, I'd say definitely better with the kids. Mind you, they were a little too young to be fully aware of everything that's going on or was going on. Sorry. Uh, I have somewhat of a love-hate relationship with my parents, to be honest with you. Um, as much as I love my parents, they're very judgmental people, and that's my point of view. They're probably sitting on someone else's live stream on YouTube having a conversation with someone. Well, I
Right.
have a love-hate. So, you know, um, my parents, they grew up in that. Uh, Fortunately, the time for that is mostly past. The whole time of mom stays home, dad goes to work, mom takes care of the kids. Dad retired at 55. They've just never really, um, they don't have that understanding of what life is like. So it's very much, well, why aren't you looking to get remarried? Why don't you do these things? These are the normal things I would do if I was you. So that's kind of the relationship. I mean, I see my family often. I love my parents. I go over as they're getting older and help do things around them, stuff like normal things. But there was no, maybe it's a product of parental love. But when I was trying to talk to them about it at the time, it was more, you need to go to AA because that's what alcoholics do. You
Right.
need to, um, and then when I showed up, when I had Christmas at my house, after I had quit, and I opened a bottle of wine and I poured myself a glass, and the eyeball started, the lecture started. Oh, he's back drinking again. He's this, it was very, sometimes people uh, think they're helping when they're not.
We get
I
stuck in
guess that's,
those preconceived notions that this is what this is what a recovering alcoholic needs to do. You need to be going to meetings as often as possible. And I'm going to say the same as you said with antidepressants. If you need to go to meetings, go to meetings. If that's your lifeline, grab it, hold on to it, practice it, go to as many meetings as you need to go to. Um, some people need to do that 90 and 90 meetings in 90 days. Um, gives you a firm foundation. Uh, for me, I was gifted with meditation, so um, I had that as my foundation. I went to meetings for a bit, thinking it would replace the social life that I lost with bars, but I realized that um, I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be with other. I didn't want to be with alcoholics. I didn't want to be reminded constantly that um, I'm supposed to be this. That I'm a recovering alcoholic. You mentioned like um, with cancer, you're not always a recovering cancer patient. If you have cancer, if you have the cancer removed, if you're treated and the cancer's gone, you don't always need to identify as a cancer patient any longer. And I no longer thought of myself as a drunk or an alcoholic or anything like that. I felt reborn. So I decided I'm just going to leave it all behind. The meetings, the bars, all of it, and just embrace an entire new existence.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a way to do it. I thought, and I was bound and determined when I started my journey to put every possible tool in my toolbox. I did not make it through one AA meeting. They had a break and they never went. It just,
Right.
um, a couple of things. One of those things being that, like you, I didn't want to be around a bunch of alcoholics. This was their life, right? The other point is that AA, I've now learned they've kind of softened their stance on this. AA is a very Christian organization, or was at the time. And I've mentioned before, personally, I'm an agnostic, and I got, just the wrong foot. So the first thing, and I have no problem standing up and speaking in front of people. Obviously, I'm here right now. I do I do presentations as part of my work, things like that. And like I stood up, and then they started asking questions. You know, what are your views on God? Have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? I'm like, no, and I'm not someone that's going to go to one of these meetings and lie because at that point, what's the point of being, right? Um, and there was maybe it may just be the particular branch. There was zero tolerance for me. You
Right.
can't get started journey until you accept it. You can't be one of us. And I didn't want to be one of them, so I left.
I found that the practicing the 12 steps is different than going to AA. And I think that you can practice the 12 steps and you can practice it without being a Christian. You can practice it while you're a Buddhist, while you're a yoga practitioner. And when it comes to surrendering the higher power, people tend to forget the last words of your understanding, higher power of your understanding. And it seems to me, and it seems pretty obvious, that the higher power of your understanding is just being out in nature, is being on a riverbank or along the edge of a pond, of having a rod in your hand, um, listening to good music, that your higher power is life itself. You don't need to give it an actual name or a label. and put it in a room and show up
Yeah.
every day at this particular time.
Well, I'm an odd duck. I'm an odd duck in that regard, Yogi, I would say. Um, so agnosticism, as I'm sure you're aware, is not atheism. I pray. I talk to God sometimes if I feel, if I feel the need. I just don't have that driving. I think people like to label things. It makes it easier for someone to think of God as a person or a being, and I've accepted that I will never know. Not within the lifetime in this body, so to speak. I will never know what God looks like, or if God is actually a person or a being, or if God is an entity. If everything around me is God, maybe am I part of God? I don't know that. These are profound questions to ask yourself and to think about. And but I also, at that same time, by that same token, there's a reason I feel people have a conscience. There's a real reason why if I do something bad, that I feel bad. There's a reason that um, I look at my kids and I feel that love for my kids, and I want them to be successful and have a good life. There's all of these emotions and feelings that people have. There's a reason behind it. It's more of a big bang. I
Right.
just um, my view of religion is that it's not a cafeteria or a menu of choice. So
I
many
always
people, so many people prescribe to a religion, but they don't practice all of it, and that's really not the way religion is supposed to work.
right.
You know,
Um, yeah, I talk about quite a bit the difference between being a fundamentalist and a practitioner. That um, if you were a practitioner of Christianity, you would be practicing Sermon of the Mount, everything laid very clearly. Um, Blessed are the meek, blessed are the poor in spirit, turn the other cheek. Mainly being forgiveness. Jesus was asked, how often do we forgive? And he said 7 times 70, which is just symbolism for you just keep forgiving as long as you have something to forgive until you run out of things to forgive. But then you get to be a fundamentalist and you're believing in church politics and not the message itself any longer. And things can get a little um, out of hand at that point. Maybe not for everyone. Maybe some people blend the two successfully. Um, in my upbringing in the Catholic Church, I never saw it, not once. I never saw an actual practitioner of Christianity. It was only when I discovered yoga and Buddhism, and I realized, so wait, you can actually practice this. You can actually, you know, have these beliefs and go out in life and be a kind and good person and not preach about it. Although I've been told I can be a little evangelical in my message of yoga. Um,
I don't
but at
think
least,
there's I don't think there's anything wrong, Yogi, in wanting to help people. If you have something in your life, such as yoga, that's helped, obviously, if you want to spread that joy or that message or that practice to other people, it's natural.
right,
Um, my problem with religious organizations as a whole is that it's been my experience that people's view when they are of a certain religion typically is, well, you're not right because you're not of this religion like I am. And that's kind of where I have to draw the line.
right,
I think I've mentioned before, church is not for me. I don't I don't think that God created all these beautiful things we're surrounded with so that I could be stuck on one of my 2 days off and some stuff built, not enjoying and appreciating it. That's the way I personally feel. But at the same time, and that's where tolerance comes into play, is it's perfectly fine if you do. I don't judge you, and I ask you not to judge me in return. We have to do whatever it makes us feel connected to whatever God we believe in. And for some people, that may be church. It's just not the solution for me.
Right. I think that's important. Not only the non-judgment, but also that realization everyone needs and wants to feel connected. No one wants to be adrift in a world, a world without meaning, a world without true relations with the world itself, with others, um, and religion, churches, community all give you that meaning, and it's good as long as, like you were saying, as long as it's not abused, as long as it's not um, this is the only way to do it, and the way that you're doing it, you know, you going to you going fishing is wrong. You should be in church, and that's when we are led astray. When someone says you're doing this wrong, this is the way to do it, and that's when we get that fundamental attitude. I was
Yeah,
wondering if
uh, and I mentioned that Ricky Gervais is one of my someone I very much look up to. And you mentioned on one of your streams his interview with Stephen Colbert, which I very much enjoyed. Um, and the famous line from that is the one where he says, "You believe in one God out of 3,800, and I just don't believe in one more." We're really not
right,
all that different,
who's brilliant,
which is a fantastic line. But one line said in that interview that people tend to have skimmed over is that as a Christian or as someone that practices Islam, for example, the whole principle behind your religion is that you live a life of goodness and propriety, so that upon your death you can ascend to heaven, you ascend to something greater. See, and that's something I could never agree with. Uh, and Ricky said it best is, well, you have everything to die for. He said, I think life around me is beautiful. I have everything to live.
right?
And my philosophy is why not?
I was always amazed that in the New Testament, Jesus gave explicit directions to heaven. Kingdom of heaven is within, and every person immediately looked up in the sky and said, "But I don't see it." Um, and that's the whole. That's basically the conversation that Ricky and Stephen Colbert had. Is if you don't find heaven here, you're not going to find it anywhere else. If you haven't found heaven in your heart, in the heart of other people, um, it's not meant to be looked for in an afterlife. Most specifically, if you waste this life by not being immersed in it, in every opportunity, in every sunset that comes your way, and every riverbank that you stand by, every tree that you get to lean against, um, that's heaven. Everything that we experience here now, and all we have is here now, is absolute heaven.
That's Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that. I'm a very firm believer in the whole yin and the yang principle,
Right,
and part of that is without ugliness, there's no beauty. If everything was every day was a beautiful sunset, and every time I went fishing, I was reeling them in one after the other, and every single day was 75 degrees and sunny and beautiful. That would just be the norm. I wouldn't appreciate those things as much as I do.
right. Now, I agree with you 100%. And this is what I always like about our conversations is navigating to the agreement, um, navigating to the common ground and different ways of explaining it. Sometimes the beauty of fishing is not catching a fish. Sometimes the beauty of the riverbank is when we misstep and we fall in. Sometimes the beauty of a 75-degree day is when a spring storm comes sweeping in and leaves us drenched. That um, the perfection is in the messiness. The Japanese philosophy, believe it's wabi sabi, the inherent imperfection is the perfection itself. That they'll take a vase that might have a crack in it and mend it with a streak of gold that holds it together. And it's even more beautiful than it was because now it has a story to it. Now it has um, a seeming flaw that only adds to the essence.
Hmm. Yeah, and beauty is it truly is where you find it. So by that same token, as I said, without ugliness, there is no beauty. If that box was never cracked in the first place, it would probably look like thousands of other boxes you've seen in your lifetime, right?
Right,
And what makes it vase unique is it's cracked. It's like the Liberty Bell, just like the fact that the Statue of Liberty has tarnished over time. The Statue of Liberty is a beautiful symbol. It's a symbol of friendship between countries that stands for something very special in my opinion. Um,
right. Hey, I'm gonna let you answer or reply to Bob's, and if it is possible, comment. Um, as I believe it's fishing related. I believe it's let's see. It's right under Jamie Brown. Hey, Jamie Brown and Ginger, Julie. I refer to it as, and then there is words blurbed out. Um, and I believe it is in reply to those days when we're not catching anything, maybe the days when you guys aren't catching anything. For me, on the days that I'm not catching anything, it's just another day being a vegan. Um, but for for you guys, it's a different experience.
yeah,
Um,
um, you know what? Fishing is like anything else. Um, there's days where fishing line, Yogi. I know you don't fish. Fishing line is a special material. It defies the law of physics. It has this wonderful habit of tangling and tying itself up in ways you never thought possible. Um, so you have days where you go out and your lines are all tangled and you're scrambling them up and you use an expensive lure and I have, it all comes in levels, right? I have days of fishing where I come home and wish I had gone fishing. Not every day out fishing is a beautiful sunset, and
right,
you know, e- even if I didn't catch any fish, I had that beautiful sunset. Some days it was miserable, it rained, the line tangled. I lost $20 worth of lures, and um, I dropped my bologna sandwich in the water, and it's like anything else in life. Um, but that makes the days where you go out and catch a big fish, and catch multiple fish, and you have a nice sunset, and the weather's warm, and it's a nice breeze. It makes those more special.
I have never seen any of you guys not enjoying what you're doing. No matter if it is you sitting in your car because it's a really windy day, or um, seeing Skeeter catch absolutely nothing. Um, anytime I tune in to you guys, and I tune in quite a bit, I've become um, a big fan of the fishing community to the point I don't even think of it as fishing community or even like crafting community or gaming community. Now it's just community. Very seamless to go from watching Tundra do a live stream where she's talking and just having fun to going and watching you fish or suits for gold or watching Bob or Stuart tie flies. Um, it's just like going from one friend's house to another who's just doing something different. There's no big dichotomy between the two. And I absolutely love the fact that you guys were so welcoming to um, a pesky vegan who was maybe giving you bad luck when he showed up on your on your fishing live streams. So a big thank you.
I'll tell you, and you know what, Bob, if Bob is still in the chat, probably I'd love to hear what he has to say on this. I would rather you come into my live stream and preach the word of veganism than you come into my live stream and tell me what bait to use. So the bait veganism and the yoga to you. You leave the fishing to me. But honestly, though, what I've started to find personally on my live streams is the thing that I'm doing is secondary to the chat that I'm having on the live streams. Because I can go fishing 7 days a week, right? I could, and I do almost go fishing 7 days a week.
Right.
But my live streams are a special time where I get to interact with people. And yeah, and it feels like we're all. I'm fishing, whether it be outside or from the car. I'm fishing. I feel like the live stream's fishing with me. I didn't catch a fish. We caught a fish, and you'll always hear me say that. We
Right.
got one. Oh, that's rod, guys! Look! We got a like we got and that's therapeutic to me as well. Having that interaction is key, and that's why I'm welcoming, and that's why I think you're welcoming as well. Your streams always start. We were talking about fishing right now. We came here to talk about some. Your streams always start in one place, and then go to the chat. People talk, and it branches out from there. And it's really more about whatever the one thing that we all came here for. That's just the starting point. Where it goes from there, who knows? And I think that's really the beauty of it.
Right. And you know what? You extend the same thing when you come here. I've never seen you have a negative reply to anyone. I've never seen you. I'm not saying that you agree or maybe even like everyone, but you extend everyone the same courtesy in my live stream as you do on yours, and I appreciate that. And as a matter of fact, there's some people that you are particularly loving and compassionate towards, and I absolutely love and appreciate the fact that you do that for others.
I think that comes from my background. It's one thing from dealing with depression and anxiety and mental illness and stuff. It's something you can recognize in others, whether that be something that person struggles with as part of their whole life, or something maybe that person's struggling with in the moment. I know there's been so many times personally where one little thing. I remember when I first got divorced. This is a weird tie-in here, but when I first got divorced, I had nothing. I bought a nice place once the whole settlement fell into place and stuff. I got a nice place, but when I moved into it, I had nothing. No dishes, no cutlery. My son and I slept together on a blow-up mattress and sleeping bags. Luckily I made good money at the settlement. Remedied itself quickly. But I didn't have the means to cook. I hadn't bought an oven yet. So I took my son out to Burger King, and I still have it downstairs actually. Do you remember the movie Minions that came out? The first Minions movie?
Yeah.
So Burger King had this thing, you get a kid's meal and they give you Minions. And we came home and we were sitting at the kitchen island in my new residence. And my son said, "Dad, you can have my cup." He says, "We don't have much yet, but here's a start. Now we've got a cup." And it's amazing how that one little gesture changed my outlook on things, changed my life. And I always try to live my life with the view that one little nice thing that I say to somebody on your channel, on Bob's channel, on my channel, could send their life in a completely different. So the butterfly effect, right? Could
Right.
your life in a completely different direction just from that one little comment. Right? So
One, I love that. One little gesture. I try to live my life by that. I have one word in reply to that, and I think you'll understand it immediately. I think some people in the um, live stream will understand it immediately. Just one word, and that word is fart.
well,
You embraced it, and it
well, who
became a
doesn't like
thing.
it? It- you know, it doesn't matter where you're at in society, whether you're the president of the United States, the King of England, everyone appreciates a good fart.
This,
And
this is true.
and at the end of the day, um, you know what? Um, and I know exactly the case that you're talking about. Okay? I've had that same thing with that person also, because where they were having a bad day, and I said that awesome, powerful four-letter word, and completely changed their attitude.
Changes
Right?
everything. And you know, it can be said that one good fart can change the entire world. You've heard it here first, paraphrasing, paraphrasing all things country. But here's the thing: you decided to be kind. Simple as that. And I think for you, it might not even be a decision. I think that you're just naturally a kind person, um, and you did what you do.
It's been my experience that there's in regards to that, there's um, two types of people. There are people that like to make people feel better, make themselves feel better, while making feel people feel good about. And there's people that like to make themselves feel better by making others feel bad about themselves. Um, and that all goes with life. And I think all of us have a choice to make. I just choose to make people feel better by using the word fart.
There you go. So it's a whole philosophy that I'm waiting. I'm eagerly looking forward. I'm eagerly looking forward to your book. Um, not sure what the title might be yet. Fart your way to inner peace. Um,
I already wrote it. The title of the book is "When You're Feeling Down, Seek Refuge Within." And when you open the book, it just says "fart." It was a very easy book to read.
and that's the message that we need now. We don't need more words. We need one correct word. Jay says it's a fart from the heart. There's the title. That's a good title. It's the fart from the heart. Speaking
Amen.
of comments, I want to see if anyone has any questions for you. So anyone in the chat, and anything that we've talked about, or anything that you might have wondered about uh, fishing with ATC, or stoosing for gold, or anxiety and depression, and not drinking any longer, just let us know. Michael here was saying that he had anxiety overload from 49 people came to eat Thanksgiving dinner. That would do it. Um, I think the only way I could actually be in bars and handle it with anxiety was to be drunk, because I've tried to go to bars when I'm not drinking and I can't do it. Not even for, I've done it for Mocha to sing karaoke, but it's a struggle.
I never suffer from that kind of anxiety, which is strange. My anxiety typically comes in the form of panic attacks. Anxiety attacks. I should differentiate. There's a difference between a panic attack and an anxiety attack.
Right.
Um, but mine comes in the form of anxiety attacks, and those typically come when my depression gets to a point where I haven't dealt with things. Um, and anxiety is very, very frustrating. I find depression can be defeated with um, activity and logic. Anxiety, when you get an anxiety attack, there is no amount of logic that can get you out of that anxiety attack. You can
Yeah,
sit on the edge of your telling yourself everything's okay. Well, it's a very terrifying experience.
it is.
Um, you know, and until I fully understood them, and I still get them sometimes, much more rarely than when I was drinking heavily. But I still get them, and I just ride them out. I have certain things that I do, practices, meditation being one of them, um, certain exercises that I do that get me through that panic attack till it goes.
Right. Breath work has been a lifesaver, literally a lifesaver for me. Poor man's Jim wants to know. He said, "It's curious if he makes any decent money gold sluicing."
Uh, no. um, that depends how you look at things, right? Um, so I've been doing this for prospecting for about 20 years. I've amassed about at today's prices close to $7,000 in gold. So $7,000 is no kick in the teeth. But if I had spent those hours and hours and hours doing pretty much anything else, with the intention of making money, like even buying and selling on eBay, for example, or something like that, I would have made much more money. So
Right.
I like to think of it as a hobby, and the gold is um, while it's what we seek, it's a side benefit of the hobby.
Right. Squirrel Sniper says, if you're looking for gold, best try some dowsing rods. Do you know anything about dowsing?
Yeah, and I'm so on the fence about it. Um, I used to think it was completely bogus until I saw somebody do it. Until I put somebody, I was in Coos Canyon in Maine, and there's a woman there named Rosie Salisbury, lovely woman, awesome person, great friend of the prospecting community. She runs a rock gem and gift shop down in Coos Canyon in Maine, and she practices dowsing, and she I told her straight up. Said, "I think this is BS. I don't believe it." And I actually hid the gold nugget in her parking lot, and she found it in front of
Well,
my eyes with no help, with no coercion. I set the terms of the scientific test, so to speak. So, but I also think it's not something that I don't know how it works, why it works, but it's also, from my understanding, not something that just anybody can do. So,
I agree. Although maybe anyone can be. I talked about this a bit with Squirrel Sniper. I think some people have um, that innate ability to be able to do it if they're properly trained. Um, I think people can learn how to do it, but they might not have that same ability if they don't have that talent um, that other people might. It's just like not everyone's going to be a great actor, although everyone can learn to act. Not everyone's going to be a great singer, although everyone can certainly sing. Jace said um, that you had the exact answer. To combat anxiety and stress, focus based activity and exercise always helps. Our friend Selma is here. If you have anything that you'd like to say to Selma,
well, we covered fart already. Um, but hello, Selma. Good to see you.
can you ever, is there only one specific place in a conversation to, express fart? It seems to me to be something that you can bring up in any time in any conversation, and it has the same impact as the first time you mention it. That could just be my fart philosophy.
You know, I do presentations for clients sometimes. I don't necessarily know that I could work farting. There may indeed be places where fart is not. Well, I think, if I was presenting with 30 people, all 30 people would probably chuckle and get some benefit out of it. I don't think they'd admit that to their boss, and I may indeed lose the contract over it. So, um, yeah, maybe I guess there's times where mentioning fart in conversation benefits everyone else except for you. Could be a selfless act.
That could be. But you know what? I like to think of it as it's an expanding philosophy. We haven't defined the limits or how far it can go yet. It's still that might be in your second book. Um, the second message in that book. Sniper said that he found an underground tap for a client when he was doing a pricing job. He got the tree job to say. All right, yeah, I've watched Sniper Douse once, and it was pretty cool, pretty impressive. So, any other questions before we end everything? Let's talk music. Putting this off for the end because man, I absolutely love every single song that you put into a short. You haven't had uh, not to play off the fart analogy, you haven't had a stinker yet. Everyone's been on point that you've done, and you mentioned that it's intuitive that you know the right song, like right when it's happening.
I'm just a huge fan of music, to be honest. Always have been. I have very, very diverse musical tastes.
Well, yeah, you did Black Sabbath today,
I did.
and John Prine the other day. That's
Yeah.
it's a wide range. Not everyone can navigate those waters, you know. I've heard some Hank Williams Jr. Country Boy Can't Survive, excellent song.
Perhaps, but I'd put money that if John Prine were with us today, we would probably listen to some Black Sabbath. It just seems like he was that kind of guy. And Ozzy Osbourne, well, maybe he probably listens to just about everything. But, no, honestly, I just really enjoy music. I think music is a big, as someone that deals with depression and anxiety, the right music can change your mood in an instant.
Right?
And people. So, I mean, Selma has given us that lovely rendition she did of "You Are My Sunshine." But if you were to listen to the Johnny Cash rendition of "You Are My Sunshine," it's a very sad, depressing song.
Right? Yeah, true. Very true.
And it just goes to you. That's the perspective. Perspective is 90%. And sometimes when you're depressed, listening to sad music actually makes you feel better. And sometimes when I'm depressed, listening to happy music makes me feel better. And I just kind of gravitate to whatever I like to at the time. When I'm making a short, that kind of whatever music or song that I choose to go with short goes with what I feel, at the time listening to that short.
Right.
And if I'm feeling really depressed, and I wouldn't put out a short that day, so you won't hear a short with sad, melancholy music on it because it's not what I want to portray on my channel.
Stuart made a comment yesterday, might have been the day before, that heavy metal is the only genre that will cover all the bases. If you're sad, it'll cheer you up. If you're uh, happy in the right frame of mind, it can bring you down. It's the only genre. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but it's an excellent point that the genre that we love can take us in all different directions. As you were saying, any music can take us in almost any direction. For me, it's jazz. Jazz and classical music covers the gauntlet, everything.
Jazz is a really weird one with me because I would not typically say that I truly enjoy jazz or like jazz. I wouldn't say I like jazz. Sorry. I would never, go on Spotify and have a jazz playlist.
Right.
But it's also one of those things that I've been some cafe, for example. They've had jazz playing in the background, and I find myself enjoying it, and I find it myself enjoying the effect that having that jazz playing has on my mind. Jazz is a very distracting type of music. It doesn't jazz. It's not a symmetrical type of music. It doesn't move in one direction.
Right. Right.
It's
Foreman
very
said Miles. Foreman said Miles Davis is literally depression in music form. Not all of it, but it sets the scene for a dreary urban landscape, and it definitely can. Um, but then you have someone like John Coltrane and his seminal classic "Love Supreme," which is just a celebration of love. I think it's the same as what Stuart was saying. Jazz can take you in any direction, and it can make up directions. Uh, and for Stuart, heavy metal does that. For someone else, I think country music. Country music uh, can be pretty mournful, uh, especially uh, older country music. What's the song? Man, who? It was actually written by John Prine and Goodwin. Was that his name? And David Allen Coe had a hit with it. The ultimate country song. Um, and I can't think of the title. You don't have to call me darling, darling.
I thought Conway Twitty does a version of that. I know that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Um,
So you look at some of Johnny Cash's songs. I mean, and some of them are, "A Boy Named Sue" will make you laugh. "Folsom Prison Blues" is a really sad song.
yeah,
"You Are My Sunshine," his version is a very sad song. Merle Haggard, "Mama Tried" is a very sad song.
it is.
Um, but at the same time, they make me feel good when I listen to them. So, music is a very, very powerful thing to some people. And I think further to your point and to Stuart's point, it all depends on the lens you're listening to that music through, or the filter that you're listening to that music through. You know, I used to play football when I was younger. When we go in the locker room and before we head out to the field, we'd play a Thunderstruck, the AC/DC, run out, and everyone was all pumped up to tear each other's heads off. Right? If we played, uh, "You Are My Sunshine," it probably wouldn't have had the same effect on me.
Probably not.
Right?
It would have been a different game for sure. 100%. Hey, our friend Michael asked if I could ring the bell for anxiety. So this is for Michael and for anxiety. This is for everyone who um, suffers or has suffered anxiety. Ringing the bell for our friend. Right. I think I'm going to wrap things up. I appreciate the conversation.
Me too. Feels like one of those where if we wanted it to, we could still be here tomorrow.
I think so. And I will be back this evening if anyone wants to come back and hang out. And we can talk some more. I'll have the open link up. It's always open. Anytime you see the link, click on it. We can continue the conversation. Like you said, we probably only touched upon a fraction of the subjects because every subject leads to another subject, to another subject, and another, and it can just keep going on and on. And I absolutely, wait a minute. Jay says, don't forget the beard. So, you know, tonight's going to be the big beard off. And your hat is in the ring. Any predictions? Who who is it going to be? Who is going to be the final victor in the great beard off of just a Yogi doing burpees in his basement? Just a Yogi. I'm going to change the title. It's going to be just the Yogi with the most magnificent beard. I keep pointing people out. Don't confuse length with quality.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think Bob got a really good head start on us, and as his friend, I have to say, um, if I was outside this competition, that would be where my vote would go.
Now, Stewart has all but declared himself the winner.
Stewart does that.
He has said that he's top tier. Everyone else is competing to compete against him. But I'll be honest. I'm looking. Jace has got a pretty magnificent beard, and I think it's because he's giving no energy to the top of his head. That the pure baldness is all the nutrients.
On top of that, Jace has a very significant Sigmund Freud thing going on. He's got that Sigmund Freud, the gray, into a little slightly less gray with the glasses, and he does the whole.
He does. Yeah.
Yep. That's so I think maybe between Jace and Bob's got the old man in the sea Hemingway beard. Jace is rocking the Sigmund Freud. Stewart is rocking like the comic book guy from The Simpsons beard. If that's your thing, vote for Stewie. Whatever. I'm just happy that maybe next time we need to have some advance notice. So we could have you and I maybe I could have directed more energy into the beard.
I agree. Because when I try to do
you, Bob, Jason, Stewart, I actually have a full head of hair to grow. So
you should get bonus points for that. I think you should get bonus points for the hair. Whenever I do the Jace chin web without the full beard, people think like I'm itching, that I'm scratching. So Jace pulls it off. I can't. I don't look wise when I do it. I look like I have
Jace
a bad itch.
Has that you can run your fingers through it, length to it. Bob might have an entire tackle box in his beard for all I know. That thing is thick.
So that what? I'm glad you said that because we were thinking about who we're going to pit people off first this evening, and I said I'll go up against Bob, but now I've decided I don't want to be eliminated that quickly. So I think it might be me and you, and then Bob and Jace. Oh, don't forget Eric Lapointe. He's trimmed his recently, but it's still a pretty magnificent beard. It's going to be interesting. And there's no rules, so people can vote for whoever they like better. I hope the fact that, this is my YouTube channel and my live stream, I hope that doesn't influence anyone to vote for me just because of that. Although, if it does, I'm okay with that too. So we can take it all in consideration.
Yeah, the whole home field advantage is real. That's for sure.
That's the only thing I have going for me is the home field advantage. Other than that, I might be out the first elimination round. Stewart says it only took him 6 weeks to grow this. So we're going to see. It all starts tonight. Half an hour is going to be devoted to, I think, people voting between you and me, people voting between Jace and Jason Bob, or Jason Eric Lapointe. We'll see which one. Let's see. All right, I think that's it. I think we're as caught up in the conversation as I ever am as far as comments are concerned. And man, I appreciate it.
No worries, Yogi. And the only thing I'd like to add is anybody, if you're feeling, I am not a mental health. I preach this on my channel all the time. I'm not a mental health practitioner. I am proud to say that I've mentioned this on my live, that if anyone's feeling down or wants my help, or even just a little conversation or a bit of advice, or a second set of eyes, I'm always open. My email, my channel. Proud to say some folks have actually taken me up on the offer, which I think is awesome. And just if people are ever feeling to the point where just a conversation is not enough, I want to urge anyone who's watching to seek help. Again, life is a beautiful thing. But you have to be in the right mindset to see that, and I can understand that. So anyone that needs help, reach out to myself. If you feel you're past that, then reach out to our hotlines out there. There's medical practitioners. Go to the emergency room if you have to. I guess that's kind of how I like to finish it. That seems like a negative note, but I want to make it a positive note because everybody does have something to live for. Whether it's just the next sunset or the next snowfall or the next beautiful what have you.
I can certainly say that if you go to a All Things Country live stream, specifically Sluicing for Gold, that it can be a very peaceful experience. And I hope people pick up that message from you. And as he said, as All Things Country, as Brad said, reach out if you need to reach out to anyone. Reach out to Brad. He's there on his live stream. His email's in his on his channel. You can reach out to me. I know you can reach out to Jace. I know you can reach out to Toy Pups. Toy Pups is here, by the way. That's important. Perfect message to end it with. Reach out when you need to reach out. Reach out before you need to reach out. But definitely reach out for sure. So let me get a quick hi to Toy Pups. And we'll say goodbye. Tune in this evening.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Enjoy your day. You gonna go fishing at all today, or
Probably.
We'll
see. It's snowing here for the first time, so
whatever you do, enjoy it. Make sure you tune in at least to vote for yourself later on, because I'm gonna vote for myself. I'm gonna vote for myself. That's for sure. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I might end up voting for you because I think you got me beat. If I got to be completely honest, if I got to be honest with myself, I got to vote for you. But we'll see what happens.
Is it an anonymous vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless unless someone says, "Hey, I voted for you."
Pack, Yogi. I will vote for you. You vote for me. We don't have to know where those votes came from, and then we don't have to feel guilty about voting for ourselves.
Yeah, I'm in. 100%. Take care, my friend.
See you guys later.
Yep. So, guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to see everyone later this evening. Come on back for the great beard off Thanksgiving. You could watch football. There's football on today, right? Football on Thanksgiving. Yeah, you could watch football if you wanted to. Or you can finally decide who's got the best beard in the community here. We got toy pups coming in.
I always have to pop in. Hi, Yogi.
Hey, how are you?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I know your Thanksgiving was about a month earlier, right?
Yes, I feel it's so weird when I come on and everyone's just celebrating Thanksgiving, and I'm like, what's happening? We had it like a whole month ago, you know?
Um, I like to think that all of us celebrate Thanksgiving every single day with the right attitude. We all
I
got
think
some.
so too. You just got to be thankful for the little bit that the just the fact that we woke up this morning is something to be thankful for, right?
Right.
The fact that we're taking a breath, we're able to connect with friends is just the fact that we're in this chat and we're surrounded by amazing people that are so supportive, so kind is a big deal to be thankful for.
I agree.
I just popped in and I got a little bit of the ending of, I guess that was ATC, was it?
That was ATC.
Hi ATC. I guess you guys were talking about we've been trying to focus on a mental health safe place. W- was that the conversation?
Yes, we started talking about sobriety, both
Ah,
his and mine, but you can't talk sobriety without talking about mental health. That
yeah.
the two coincide because when you drink, you are basically self-medicating um, to combat whatever. It's all mental health. There's no such
Mhm.
thing as suffering physical health without suffering mental health. There's no such thing suffering mental health without it affecting your body. Um,
Yeah, I feel like the two go hand in hand. A lot of
exactly.
people, and you'll find statistically, a lot of people that have an addiction or that has a substance abuse um, or have had it, the core of their problem was mental health. And because they didn't understand what was happening to them, or because they didn't understand, a lot of people aren't diagnosed. Okay.
Right.
A lot of people are not diagnosed. They don't have a diagnosis saying, hello, you're bipolar depression. Hello, you have schizophrenia, or hello, like you have ADHD, something small like that, ADHD or ADD, autism, right? Autism is a spectrum, so you can be very low on the spectrum, but because you're not accepted by others, it affects your mental health. Anything can affect your mental health,
True.
right? And you don't have to have a diagnosis to say you have depression, to say that I might need some help with my mental health, you know?
Um, you and I've talked about this before, and I mentioned this to a few others through the last couple weeks, specifically being on the spectrum and how it affects our ability to communicate with other people.
Yes, because autism is all about communication, right? Autism is all about communication. And with autism, and there's so many people that are on the spectrum that really don't know how to use, let's say, the English language, right?
Right.
Just verbal words like, um, it's misinterpreted a lot of times where they're just trying to reach out and make a friend, but because they don't know how to use the words or communicate this word to mean that word to you. I find it's like this. A lot of people they use blinders when they're communicating. So they always try to sugarcoat everything and make it sound nice. Someone with autism doesn't know how to do that. They don't have blinders,
Yep.
right?
They don't have those filters.
They don't have those filters and they basically just say what they feel. That's why I always say on YouTube, there's a lot of like words. It's like we read words, we put words out, right? It's just words. And um, we have to really just think twice before we do a reaction, you know?
Right. Um,
Because, yeah,
the whole goal of yoga is to teach us from being reactive reacting to things, reacting to our own thoughts, to being responsive, which gives us that pause. When we respond, we do it from a heart place, from a heart center, where it's slower and we can reach out to someone instead of lashing out at someone.
Yeah, Yogi, I have to say something. We learned that from you. That's a that's a tool that we've learned from you. Is when you read something, it's maybe it's not the way some. It's how we perceive it,
Right.
right? It's how we perceive it, and that has to do with us, not with the other person, right? Not with the message being given, but with the way we're receiving it, right? That has nothing to do with the other person. And that's something we've learned from you, Yogi. And I have to say, it's made the biggest difference in our life.
Well,
Um,
I appreciate hearing that. Um,
yeah.
so the entirety of my channel is about is learning to be responsive versus being reactive. When we respond, we're acting from a heart center. We're literally extending ourselves as love versus being reactive, where we are fear based.
Yes.
And
It makes
we
the
are,
biggest difference. Yes. Yes. Yogi, you're so smart. And these messages, we don't want you to ever stop giving these messages because sometimes just a simple thing like that makes the biggest impact in someone's life.
it
Um,
does. You
it
know,
does.
ATC, Brad talked about gestures, one small gesture, and the difference it can make. And he told the
Hmm.
story of his son uh, when he moved in after his divorce. Um, First place, it didn't have any furniture and uh, didn't even have any food in the house at the time. He went to Burger King. They brought a meal back, and it had one of the plastic cups from the movie Minions.
Hmm.
And his son handed him the cup and says, "Well, here's where we start. Here's a cup for the house."
Oh my gosh, that's
It
beautiful.
is. Um, we can all do that one gesture. We can
Yes.
we can all choose to be kind
Hmm.
wherever we are at any moment, at any time. What a huge revelation that was for me. You know, I can
Hmm.
choose to be kind.
And this time of year, guys, I can't stress enough how much people need um, a friend. Like, there's lots of people out there that you might think don't need a friend, you know? And there's lots of people out there that they need a friend this time of year. You got to remember, this time of year, there's a lot of happiness, and people are spreading happiness and all this happiness happening. And people with depression and deal with mental health, it's a struggle for them to try to be happy as well, because really sometimes they can have the most amazing things in their lives, but because of their mental health they can't find that happiness.
Right.
And don't let what you see on the outside, right? Everyone has a story, right? Everybody has a story. And if you think that everybody doesn't need love, even when they're coming at you in a negative kind of a way, that's the person we focus on the most, right? That's the person we're going to give the most love to. That's
Absolutely.
that's the person we're going to focus on, because that person, lots of people need love this time of year. A lot of people are alone. Even when they're surrounded with people, they're still alone,
If it
right?
seems to you that this person is the hardest one to extend love to, that's the one you want to focus on.
That's the
That's
one you
your,
want to give the most to.
yes, that's your greatest teacher. They are
Yeah.
teaching you how to love. If it was easy, we would all be doing it. Your
Yes.
greatest teacher in the world is the one that is pushing your buttons, the one that you just can't understand. Why are you doing this to me? As soon as you hear that, why are you doing this to me? What a huge lesson right there, because it's not about you. No one's doing anything to you. You're doing everything to you.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Mm-hmm.
to
It's
read
your perception, right? It's your
exactly.
perception. Yes.
I want to read Jace's message. He says the message of kind and caring is both inward and outwards. When you have understanding, only then will your actions and reactions be the best. Absolutely, Jace.
Mm-hmm. We agree, Jace. Hi, Dudsy Wudsy. How was your birthday? Chase is like got the most personality. We love Chase. I can't help it. Dudsy Wudsy. Hi, Maz
So
Claus. Hi, Selma.
um, I'm going to shut things down for 1 minute. I'm going to shut things down in 1 minute. But I'm going to
Oh,
ask
I'm
you
like, okay, thanks, Yogi. That's the most blunt you've ever been with me. Fine, bye. It's
before
like, I mean, you've always been so. I mean, I told you, just shut me down whenever, but like, that was really blunt.
I'm,
I
I'm
love
glad you
it.
knew. I'm glad you knew what I meant, though. Um,
Yeah, I was
be-
like, oh my gosh. Fine,
before I let
bye. Okay, I know I talk too much.
before I let you go, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked ATC,
Hmm.
and don't hold back. Honest opinion.
Okay.
This evening we begin the great beard off. There can only be one. Who are you going to vote for? Who has the most glorious beard of them all?
I'm not trying to be like, I mean, I already, like, I mean, you guys know Dudsy Wudsy is the winner. Dudsy Wudsy in my book is like, listen, Stuart, you got nothing on Dudsy Wudsy. ATC, and listen, you guys know I love Yogi, right? Like, Yogi, I love you, Yogi. But Dudsy Wudsy, his beard, like he's been a champ in my eyes forever. It was that beard. That beard, I was like, who cares about the bald head? That beard is luscious. It's a
So
luscious beard.
wait a minute. I got to backtrack that conversation a bit. Who cares? Who cares about the bald head? I got the bald head, and I don't got the beard. It's a double-edged
It's
sword for
because
me here.
it's blonde. Maybe if you dye it, I don't know, right?
It's coming
May-
back. I'm making a comeback.
Maybe we're like, come on, but it. I mean, Dudsy Wudsy had to have put a lot of work into that beard. It's luscious. It's full. It's like got
I'm
two
a,
different colors in there. It's gray and it's black and it's like he's styling. Richard
I'm
Gere got
afraid.
not.
I'm afraid there might be some performance enhancement beard stuff
That's
going
what we
on.
said, right? We got guys with all those 1,000 push-ups in 20 seconds. We have to question,
I
right?
think so. I
We
think
have
we're
to
gonna
question.
we're gonna not to sound crude. I think Jason's gonna need to pee in a bottle, and we can get that tested with
But
the
listen,
internet.
I don't know how come I wasn't included in this. If this was you guys lucky, you're just seeing the Christmas tree because if you were to see, I know I sound like this, and you might not be expecting a full-grown beard and mustache, but I got it going on, guys. I'm like I'm like the bragger of things, and I'm not lying when I say my beard is nicer than even Dudsy Wudsy's.
No,
Okay.
I know you don't want to do. I know you don't want to do a face reveal. You could always do a whisker reveal. You could always spread out one whisker to the camera.
No, I got it. I'm keeping myself private, guys. You don't get to see my beard and how magnificent it is, okay? You don't get to see. You're lucky.
Here's
Okay, we're gonna let you go, Yogi. Thank you for sharing your space with us again today. We love you so
Thank you.
much.
Hey, I'm gonna have before I go to I'm gonna go eat my dinner in just a minute. I will be back, but before I shut everything down, uh, Selma wants to come on. So if she wants to come
Oh,
on and sing a song to lead us off the air, uh, let's do
okay,
that.
listen, can we, because she's gonna try to compete with me to sing Sunshine Better. So can I do it first before she does it?
Yes. Okay. Let
Salma,
me let me.
you better come with it strong, Salma, because here I go.
This is
You
the first
are
battle.
my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me fart up the place. I love you, sunshine. You are my sunshine. Double tap your screen and light the live. Bye, Yogi.
Bye, toy pups. Thank you. All right. We got just enough time for one more person, and that's going to be Selma. We're going to have a song. Can she top? Can she? Can she top toy pups? That's the question. And there she is, our favorite singer.
Puppy Mommy, you are on. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You make me happy, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Full ovation. Now,
The
I don't
real
want this.
competition is me.
There you go. I don't want this to sound like I'm taking sides because my beard is not in the same category as Jace's. That Puppy Mommy said that she liked Jace's beard better than mine. So I don't want to seem like I'm taking sides, but clearly Selma is the winner of the great sing-off. What do you think of that, Selma?
Yeah, you are on, Puppy Mommy.
That's exactly it. Selma stood up, she accepted the challenge, and she laid it down like a pro.
Hey, I am not a cheater.
She is not a cheater. She sang her heart out.
Hey.
Toy Pup says Selma won. Oh my God. She did. She won fair and square. I'll tell you what though, it was close because you both have lovely voices. Mossclaw says
Yeah.
singing steroids.
Yeah. Me and Puppy Mommy were having a competition of tic-tac-toe yesterday. So I saw her feet yesterday in
I,
the live.
I saw that you said that you saw her feet. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did she have hair on her toes?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. All
Do you
right.
have hair on your toes, Puppy Mommy? If you do, then I don't want to see your feet.
I agree with you. All right, so Selma, I'm gonna call it a day, but I'll be back.
Puppy Mommy said I'm shy.
I saw that. Well, no need to be shy about the feet, unless you have hair on your toes. So then you definitely need to be shy.
She said I do.
I saw that.
I have hair on my feet.
You do?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I never thought about it. I don't know if I have hair on my feet or not. I'm barefoot. I'm afraid to check. I don't want to find out if I got hair on my feet or not. I'll let you guys know when I come back live later tonight. That'll be the big question of the day. Do I have hair on my feet or not?
Mom, I have a stinky feet.
I think everyone's feet stinks a little bit. Moscow says hair on your toes is a sign of a good blood circulation. I think it might be wrong though. Interesting. Hey, Selma, before we go, I got to ask you the same question that I asked Toy Pups, the same question that I asked All Things Country. Who do
Yeah.
you think is going to have the best beard out of all of us? Out of me, Jace, Eric LaPointe, All Things Country, Stuart the Fish Whisperer? Who do you think?
I think it's Jace, cause he's the winner ticket dinner.
I hear that, Jace. Winner, chicken dinner. Man, so far, I think I'm in last place in my own competition. I'm beginning to regret that I ever suggested this. I thought for sure someone was going to say Jace, but maybe you too, Eric. But that's okay. We all have our favorites. Hey, Easy. Easy says good afternoon, Eric. Good afternoon, my friend.
What
Pup
did Puppy
says
Mommy said?
she's talking about your stinky feet.
Hey.
She always knew it. She said. I think we all suspected it, but now we know. All right. So Selma, I'm gonna go. I'll be back. If you're around later, come on back. You can sing another song.
Okay, Puppy Mommy, are you doing the live stream today?
We'll wait and see if she answers. You don't know. Maybe she already is getting ready.
Yeah.
She says ASMR tonight.
I probably done a sea of toes, puppy mommy.
You might. So, hey, everyone's welcome to come on into the next live stream. We can sing some more songs. We can tell some jokes. We can talk about important stuff. We can see who has the best beard in this community. I think you guys are underestimating Eric LaPointe, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
All right. So, Selma, I'll see you later.
Okay.
All right. Take care. My friends, thank you all for joining in the conversation. It was a lot of fun hanging out with every single one of you.
Yeah.
And I will see you later. Selma, can you tell everyone goodbye for me?
Yeah. Yogi said bye and he loved you.
And I do love you. Thank you, Selma, my friend. I'll
You're
see you
welcome.
guys later.
Bye.